Brings us on to our next point, which is about the possible next manager. Crookie spoke yesterday and said sources have told talkSPORT that the Bournemouth manager, Iraola, is Daniel Levy's top target. And then, of course, there's a look at Thomas Frank from Brentford, as well as Marco Silva from Fulham. For you guys, who would be, out of those three, the pick for you?
Do you want to go first?
I was going to say, it'll probably be just rinse and repeat again. It's
exact words I've used before. Rinse and repeat.
It's literally just going to be a same sort of kind of manager coming in, not necessarily giving them the tools he wants, and then we'll be back here talking about it in 12 months' time. I just feel like it's going to be the same thing again.
I just think with these managers who've been listed, they've got to be backed. They've got to be supported, because everyone's saying, like, why would these three managers want to leave their clubs? Because there's the potential of European football. But don't get me wrong, and no offence to these three clubs, Tottenham are a bigger club. And we, funnily enough, do pay up for managers. Some of the fees we've given managers, and they're all probably still on gardening leave, is astronomical. The problem is when a Marco Silva, a Thomas Frank, or an Andoni Iraola lose a game, not many people say anything, because it's Bournemouth, it's Fulham, it's Brentford. But when you lose at Tottenham, the spotlight is on you, and it's not as big as a Man United or an Arsenal or a Chelsea, but you're in that big six. I mean, we're still somehow in that big six, but that's where I think, like, which one of these managers would, one, be able to survive under Daniel Levy, two, be able to work with the resources we've got and get a tune. Because at the moment, and this is another criticism of Ange, I don't think Ange has improved any players since being at the club. You could argue Kulusevski, but I think he just changed his position. We all knew. He's even said on record that he's not a winger, he's a midfielder. So I don't count him. And then apart from that, they're all potential. Like, Archie Gray's looked good, but he's a potential player. These managers have improved all the talent that they've already had at the club. Iriola's turned, like, some of those players at Bournemouth, like Cliver, looks like his dad. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think which one will work, because I saw someone say Iriola's the Spanish Ange, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I think he's got more credit in the bank than Ange Postecoglou. Thomas Frank, I think what we need to do is strip this team back again and go, what made previous Spurs teams good? Now, Daniel Levy says about this Tottenham way, or this Tottenham way. I don't even know what that is anymore. But we like seeing attacking football, but not attacking football that you've got no defence. So I think what we need to do is we need to start by building that defence again. Not necessarily with players, but like a better style where it's more defensive first. Not in the sense of Jose or Conte, where you're just silly defensive football and, it didn't even work. We were conceding 60 goals a season. But if that manager exists, then it is probably Thomas Frank. He has made such a good unit of that Brentford team. They're good defensive. They're good on set pieces. You watch those documentaries that he's done with Sky where they've gone into the club. Each opposition, he goes, right, this is how we're going to play against City. This is how we're going to play against Southampton. The problem with Iraola, and I really like him, we haven't seen it with Frank, but his style is similar to Ange in a way. Like, it is quite like end-to-end pressing. Yeah. He's had a lot of injuries, and also we've not really seen possibly what Bournemouth could do with that style of play with extra games if we get into Europe and Cup games. So that is my one worry. Marco Silva, I think he's found his level. Now, that's not a disrespect, because I think Nuno's found his level. I don't think Nuno was going to work at Spurs, but Forest is his like Wolves 2.0 team. Who look like they're going to get a Champions League spot. I know that is true, but I don't think he had Harry Kane at Spurs. Whereas I think Marco Silva, we've seen every time he's gone up a little bit, Everton, it was a bit sticky. Hollie was good. Watford was a mixed bag. I think Fulham should keep him because that's the perfect fit for him.
I'm with you on that, and sometimes, and it's proven. Look at David Moyes, right? Everton suits him. That's the team that suits him. Like, he goes back there, the Messiah. It works. You look at that, as I said. I think even Thomas Frank. You look at that. At Brentford, he's the manager. He's involved in the transfers. He's involved in everything. Like, to come and work for Daniel Levy will be such a different proposition for him. Listen, I've got the game plan. I said it on air the other week.
You're not going to say Poch, are you?
On the talkSPORT, on the final word with Alan Pardew. Poch has been obviously flirting a lot the last couple of weeks, isn't he? With when I left there, I was empty. I always want to go back. Even though I'm the US manager, yes, I want to go back.
And they got a World Cup.
I know.
On home soil.
It's crazy. I'm saying again, I don't trust Ange for the Europa League. These players need energising. They're going to come back from being with their countries, feeling energised, feeling great. Especially the likes of Romero, loves being in with Argentina. Get Harry Redknapp in, right? I'm saying that. Listen, I'm telling you now. They proposition to Harry. Get him in just because he's such a man manager.
He's got a new job in the North and South team.
Go on, lads, go out and play. Just go and let these boys go and play. Go and win the Europa League with Harry Redknapp, and then 1 year contract, just a season while we wait for Poch, because all the other options are exhausted.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if I want him back.
Why would you not want Poch back? For what reasons?
I was told from a very young age, don't go back to an ex. But I just think, the way it ended for Pochettino as well was obviously we had that amazing Champions League run, but the Premier League form did fall off a cliff.
Which was in line with Dele Alli, Hugo Lloris, the fact that we sold Moussa Dembele.
I think Daniel Levy's still at fault for the way that side collapsed. We didn't spend for a calendar year, but I mean, I'm surprised Poch got sacked by Chelsea. I think he's better than Maresca, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to come back. And the fact that he said on Sky that he still texts Daniel Levy and they're in contact.
Oh, yeah, a red
I think
flag.
Poch would only work if we had new owners. I think it'd have to be a fresh new start because, we see with Newcastle they've just. That city's been reborn with the new ownership.
But
we need that sort of freshness.
But that's not going to happen. This is the biggest problem.
He's getting more powerful, if anything.
Yeah, and with all the amazing events that's happening there, you make Ben. I'm DJing at that.
I was going to say, you are, yeah.
So get one joy at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. All of this stuff happening from a business perspective. Why on earth would they want to get rid of him?
Yeah. I do get that. I think as well, the thing that's always baffled me with Daniel Levy is the fact that if you win things, you're going to be a more prosperous club.
Exactly.
You're going to look better. So why has that not been his first kind of port of call? It's always everything else that's on the sides of football. But if you're winning things, you're going to generate more money.
But his argument is, we did spend money on certain players, Ndombele, etc., Lo Celso. Money has been spent on players.
It's just poor recruitment.
Very poor recruitment. And then even this term round, they're not signings that say, we want to go and get the top 4 this year. But there's, the best prospects in Europe, even to the fact of, Lucas Bergvall's been fantastic this season. He's going to come on leaps and bounds. The club, the way they bought Jed Spence, who's now coming into fruition. There has been money spent, but it's not an instant success story. And, and when you look at that, and the way, I hate to mention them, but seeing how Abby wore red in her picture earlier on, the way that Arsenal spent, and even though they haven't been successful in terms of winning things, they went and bought Declan Rice, who was the best midfielder in the country at that time. Even buying off of Manchester City, the way that Arsenal did, their intentions are a lot greater than ours.
But is that's Daniel Levy's fault because he sort of cut off all ties. We used to buy from West Ham.
Yeah.
We used to trade with all these. We don't even sell to those clubs anymore because they're like, we're not touching Daniel Levy with a barge pole. So the problem is we're shopping in a very small market where we. And the thing is with the Premier League now is everyone's looking down to these middle order teams, your Brightons, your Brentfords, because the way they're run as a club, it is within their means, but they're run really efficiently. As in their finances and their recruitment and their scouting. So it's just really telling that. What was it in the Amazon documentary? Didn't one of the scouts say he hates his job? So when it does, it's a big trickle down effect because even the squad has had a little bit of a turnover, but there's still that energy around the football club of
Have we got a good squad?
That's Daniel Levy. Yeah, I think we've got a good squad.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think there's talent there. So it needs somebody to come in and develop that talent.
Yeah,
we saw Pochettino develop players when he was there. Like Danny Rose, he became a world beater under Pochettino.
Yeah.
Before that, he was obviously scored that amazing goal under Harry against Arsenal and all that. Kyle Walker came on leaps and bounds under him. He was never the Kyle Walker that we knew now, first time around at Spurs, in the early days. So we know that Poch can develop players. And he knows how to work under the constraints of Daniel Levy.
I guess, but then if you want that, I think Iriola gives me Pochettino vibes. I don't know if it's because he's on the South Coast as well, but it's sort of that, young, vibrant manager who has improved talent, in that rich pool of the South Coast as well. So I feel like it's you want to move forward a little bit. I think for me, it is between either Iriola or Frank because I think they could, really improve some of this young talent. I think that is really good and probably attract some talent as well, who want to play under that coach. Because even I'm surprised when he was I think he was at Rayo Vallecano, Iriola. I'm surprised no one picked him up then. The fact that people, and I remember the Bill Foley, the owner, did an interview with Jim White. And after they sacked Gary O'Neill and brought him in, and they lost their first 10 last season. While we were winning our first 10, they were losing their first 10, and everyone was like, "Why did they get rid of Gary O'Neill?" Gary O'Neill's been sacked again, and Iraola looks like the thing is with Iraola, he could easily turn us down and wait for a Madrid or someone like that. I could see him really being he's the next super coach.
But that's my worry, Hollie. Those managers are looking, if they've done that to Conte, Jose Mourinho, the guy that's come from Scotland, Big Ange, who, he's won loads of stuff. It's not going to be a good look on their CV. At the moment, our club feels like a bit of a poisonous chalice.
Oh, definitely, 100%. And that's the thing. It's like it's not so much who can we go get. It's actually who wants to come at the end of the day. And
it's a sad state of affairs after everything that is around the club.
It's like the England job, isn't it? That was a poison chalice for many years. It's just so toxic. And I think as much as obviously I'm one for not wanting Poch back purely because A, I think it's too soon, and B, I think it's just too toxic. Imagine what it was like during his time, just as he was about to leave. Exactly. He wrote on the whiteboard.
Exactly. It was toxic when he left. To come back into another toxic environment, nothing's changing while we've got this man. And to be honest with you, like you said, nothing's going to change while the big heads are still here in the likes of Daniel Levy and stuff. And I just don't want it to tarnish.
I just feel like we need the fan base, for one, and the players need energising. I'm so unenergetic about my football team right now. And it was funny, I was speaking to Anthony, who I do my Same Old Spurs podcast with earlier on today, and he's like, when you're in an interrogation room or something and you're just like, just let me go.
Yeah.
Please, can I go? Oh yeah. It's literally, it's Ian Bill, I've got nothing left vibes at the moment, because that's what, and it is pathetic. And before you'd kind of have the argument with people. The reason why I harp on about Pochettino is because regardless of winning things or not, that year unbeaten at White Hart Lane, it was a joy to watch our football team, and I've lost all joy in going to Spurs at the moment.
It's just really deflating. I just don't know where, as you say, I don't know where we go.
What game have you enjoyed this season at home?
I went to Ipswich and Leicester. They were and Liverpool semi-final. So one was good, but then we lost it, and then two of the worst losses I've seen. I don't think I've enjoyed a game. Now when the results end, I do my content, so I'm focused on that, but I'm literally over it within an hour, because I'm I've mourned already. Well, it's the stages of grief, isn't it? I'm already at the final hurdle. It's just, I don't know what we do.